We've got a family we know very well. Dad was incredibly ruling. Mum was homeschooling the children, very protective. And Dad used to set all the rules before he went to work. He'd say, you're going to do this, 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 and this. And during the day, Mum would homeschool them, and the children say, oh, Mum, we don't want to do this. And she'd say, oh, that's all right, dear, I'll do it. And I'll tell you, Dad, that I did it, that you did it. Right? What was she doing? Protecting them. Of course, when Dad came home, he found out very quickly that the children hadn't done what he set out, and so the fight was here to here. Now the children were just confused by that. Now that marriage is finished. It died. It couldn't sustain that because they couldn't see the difference. Okay? Now the goal of parenting, of course, is to move ourselves from here to here, or from here to here. So the goal is different. If you're from this side, you're going to move more into what? Relationship. That's right, more into relationship. So you're going to have to learn to relate, and that can be very hard. I'll tell you a story about my family. We came from a ruling family. My brothers, I've got 2 brothers and a sister and I, and my mother is still alive. We probably talk, my mother and I, about once a month. I probably talk to my sister about once every 3 months, and I probably talk to my other brother about once a year. But when we talk, we are, we're good friends. We're not doing this deliberately. We're not, not angry with each other. It's just that we don't think about what is necessary in relationships. It's strange to us. Now, our son is married to someone who has come from this side, and she rings her father every night. She's married, but she rings him every night for a conversation in a different part of the country. So, if you understand where you come from, you can actually start making some choices about how you're relating. Now, we've had a lot of people say, "Oh, now I know why he does it. I thought he did it to make me upset." I said, "No, he's born that way, right? No, he's not born that way. He's created that way. Okay, that's what's happened." So, right, what we're going to do now is we're just going to go through some more details so that you can identify them. They're in your books. And Barbara will do the first 2.
Okay, so we're looking at the bonding family. So this is where we're aiming. And it's not as if you go from chaotic to ruling to bonding. You need to take the leap past ruling and go to bonding. And same from enmeshed to bonding. So you don't have to become a protecting family along the way. Okay, so the bonding family is a balanced family respecting relationship and individuality. This is page 3 of session 1. Parents respect each other, work together, and are in charge. There's a real clear line of authority. It's not that the parents are cut off from the children, but the children know, that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that mum and dad are in charge. Parents encourage their children to learn and develop. So the way that mum and dad exert their authority is not in a loud, harsh way, but it's just an adult way. All members get on well with each other. So as you see in the picture here, there's a good mix of communicating. There's parents to parents, parents to children, children to children, and that just continues. So they're all getting on well with each other. So in some other families you might find the sibling rivalry and things like that become an issue. But with this, the way that this bonding family manages itself, there's very little sibling rivalry. I won't say there'll be none, there's no promises, but there's less likely to be sibling rivalry. Problems are talked about when they happen, so there's no ignoring issues. They're talked about straight away. If children come home from school and something's happened at school that's either upset them or they don't agree with, parents will take time to talk with them about it at the time. And so it isn't allowed to fester and become a major issue later on. Or for young teenagers, maybe would brood on it and it would just get worse and worse in their minds. Children are not expected to act or think like adults. And this is very important because sometimes when we have maybe our second child, the first child suddenly looks quite a bit older and mature. And perhaps as parents, and we're tired and stressed, we tend to put more or higher expectations on that older child. But they're still maybe only 2 or 3. They're still a baby. And we really can't expect them, they're not thinking like adults, their brains aren't developed at that point to even think like an adult. They don't know enough about the world to be able to protect their younger sibling. So there's that tendency there in some families for that to happen, but it actually puts a lot of stress on a young child to have to know these things. And parents show their children a good example to live by. So the parents aren't doing something and trying to have the children behave another way. Everybody has the same way of behaving in the family. And so the children don't think, well, look at you, you tell me to do this, but this is the way you behave. And there's a story that's not too far from me, that where a family, the father retired from a military service, and on his way out he equipped himself with an entire set of cutlery with the insignia on each piece. And so they used that every day in their house. That was their everyday cutlery set, and yet when the children stole, they were very, very harshly punished. And so that's a double standard, and it's very confusing to children. So it's very important for us to model what we want from our children, not to just tell them. They're watching far more than they're listening, as you perhaps know. So looking at the chaotic family now, so we've gone from the centre, ideal family, now we're right out at the end with the chaotic family. And in this family, friends and non-family connections are more important than the family. They have a higher priority than family matters. And so if both parents are working, they will be putting in extra time at work, or someone will be wanting to go up higher in their job. Promoted, is the word. And so they'll be working on that. It's like how they do as individuals is more important than how they are as a family. Family comes second or maybe third or fourth. And the children learn this, to behave like this as well as they grow up. And when the beginning for children, it's actually quite hard for them because they're actually neglected. And so they learn the same way of behaving. To get on in life is to just look out for number one and go for it. So, in the chaotic family, mum and dad do their own thing, children's needs are not important, communication is not clear. So one set of instructions for one day might change by the next. And so again, the children have no predictability and what's expected of them in this family. Children are neglected or abused, and that might be that they're harshly punished for letting the parents down when they didn't have a clear instruction in the first place. Members don't trust each other, and that's because of this whole confusion that one day they'll be nice and the next day they're nasty, and so they learn to not trust each other. Problems are not talked about. There is a lot of disagreement. And that's again this individuality coming out, where everyone has their own opinion and doesn't want to give way to the other. And rules are kept when it suits, not because rules are good for society. So it's more about one person wanting to achieve something, that they make a rule for everyone else to keep to, and it's not about how they must behave in society. So that's the chaotic family. So now moving on to the ruling family, and you'll notice there's a picture there of, you know, how we had the on target, well now we haven't. See, all the arrows are missing the target. So the ruling family makes strong and clear demands of the children. So in this family the rules are very rigid and they are predictable. That's one good thing about them, that the children know that this rule applies every day. So that's quite a security for the children.